In today's video, I'm going to talk about the album Let There Be Rock by AC/DC. The album is celebrating its 45th anniversary, so in this video I'll give you a short background of both versions of the album, and I'll talk about the songs. I'll give a little background, and that's it. So Let There Be Rock is the fourth studio album by AC/DC. It was released in Australia on March 21st, 1977, so celebrating its 45th anniversary. The international version was released July 25th, 1977. Both albums have almost the same track list. There are a few differences, and I'll talk about that in the video. This was the last album with Mark Evans on bass. So the rest of the lineup is Bon Scott, Angus and Malcolm Young, and Phil Rudd on drums. It's an important album for the band AC/DC because back in 1976, they were doing very well in the UK and Europe. But the record company in the US, Atlantic Records, they didn't really like the Dirty Deeds album that much. And they were considering dropping the band from the label. But after hearing this album, they kind of changed their minds because this was a really guitar heavy oriented, very hard rock album. So there were two different versions of the album cover. So the first album cover, the Australian version, it features a guitar neck with the guitar frets and fingers playing the guitar in black and white, and I'll put a little image of that right there. Now on the international version, it was a photograph taken at one of their live concerts. Actually, for some reason, this album cover always made me think it was a live album. The first time I saw the album cover, but it's actually not. It's a full studio album. It does have a kind of a live album type of feel, just the production is kind of raw. It does have that live feel, and I think a lot of the songs are written in a way where it kind of has a very a jam kind of feel to a lot of songs. But anyway, let's talk about the tracks on both versions. So basically the track listing is almost the same. So side one has the same 4 songs. Side 2 has a few differences. So the Australian version has a song called Crabsody in Blue, and that's not on the international version. And the international version has the song Problem Child, which was originally on the Dirty Deeds album. So this version of Problem Child is a little shorter than the word on the Dirty Deeds album. And those are basically the only differences. So I'm going to go through the tracks on the international version, and then I'll talk about that last song, Crabsody in Blue, at the end. So first song, Go Down. This is one of the most popular songs. Has a nice cool groove to it. Starts with an opening riff, and the verse riff has this hard driving blues rhythm. The chorus is repetitive, and that makes the song memorable. The lyrics are classic AC/DC, filled with those innuendos. The guitar solo is awesome. This classic Angus Young, a blues style solo. The song also has that live concert feel with kind of a jam session towards the end. It has Bon Scott and Angus Young kind of interchanging their verses and guitar licks. And awesome way to start the album. Then Dog Eat Dog. This one has a simple but memorable rock riff throughout the verses. The chorus has some of their classic power chords. The song is about the expression, it's a dog eat dog world. It mentions businessmen and other things like that. Now the song has lots of repetitive lyrics, but it works very well for this type of song, making it very memorable. Next is the title track, Let There Be Rock, and probably one of their best songs, just filled with high energy guitar riffs. Now in the verse, it's just basically vocals, bass, drums. They do have a music video for the song. I do remember watching this on Headbangers Ball back in the day. It kind of shows Bon Scott kind of giving a sermon, and it's kind of the way the song was written, the lyrics are almost in a way, it's almost reading a sermon or almost Bible verses, but they're talking about getting ready to rock, so they kind of rewrote the lyrics that way, and it's definitely an awesome song. Next up, Bad Boy Boogie, one of the lesser known songs, but does have a really nice groove to it. Straightforward blues rock or hard rock song, has classic guitar riffs. First guitar solo is fairly simple, and Angus goes all the way out on that second guitar solo. Just really has a nice sound to it. Then on side 2, it opens with the American or international version with Problem Child. Was originally on the Dirty Deeds album. Like I said, appeared again. Actually, the Dirty Deeds album didn't come out until 1981, and at least the US version. I'm not sure about the other countries, but this song has a simple verse riff with like distorted guitar chords and like blues licks. Another song with a repetitive chorus. And a lot of these songs have like a lot of like repetitive choruses, but that's kind of what makes it memorable. And just pretty good song. Then there's Overdose. Actually, the first time I heard this song was when Exodus covered it on their Fabulous Disaster album. Now, I didn't realize it was an AC/DC song back then. Wasn't really familiar with this album, back in 1989. But the main verse riff works very well, like, to convert it to like more of like a thrash metal song. It's not very fast paced, but like the riff is just very heavy and chunky and it's kind of simple, but it's just one of those like stick in your head types of verses. Song also had some cool like blues-based guitar solos by Angus Young, and one of those songs I've always liked. Then Helen, A Bad Place to Be. This is one of those classic songs. It has stood the test of time. The guitar riff is very catchy. You do hear the bass line very well in the song. Lyrics are classic AC/DC, just filled with those innuendos and talking about the rock and roll lifestyle. Then Whole Lot of Rosie. Actually, the first time I heard this song was a cover on this Guns N' Roses EP that I bought a long time ago. Actually, I still have the cover here. I have the CD over there somewhere. But it's an EP, and this is like the second song. It's a Japanese version, and they do a cover of Whole Lot of Rosie, which was track number 5, and I think this might be on some versions of Appetite for Destruction. And pretty cool song, hard rocker, just classic AC/DC. Those lyrics with the innuendos, the blues, the guitar solos, just everything you want. And the other song I want to talk about, Crabsody in Blue, which was on the Australian version. Now this is a different type of song, one of the like slower, like bluesy types of songs. Something similar to a song like The Jack. Now the lyrics are about getting crabs. It's like a type of like STD that was I guess common in the 70s. They're talking about going to the doctor, putting cream on it, and that's basically what it's all about. Now, I don't know, that might have been too like risque for the American version. I don't know if that's the reason, but this is not on the American version or the international version. It did appear in, I think it was 2009, on the AC/DC Backtracks box set. So you can get it there, or you can get it on the Australian version if you can still find that album out there. So in conclusion, it's definitely an awesome album, probably one of my favorites. I do prefer the Bon Scott albums over most of the Brian Johnson albums, a few exceptions, maybe like Back in Black. But this one has stood the test of time. It is a very influential album. I think it kind of like, influenced a lot of 80s metal bands. I think a lot of bands would say that, they do listen to this album. As you can see, I mentioned two, 80s metal bands covering songs from this album. And anyway, definitely awesome. No weak songs, just all killer, no filler. And one of their best in my opinion. So that's all. Next videos I'm going to do, I have Anthrax Among the Living celebrating, I believe it's 35 years, and Deep Purple's Machine Head celebrating 50 years. Try to get those done this week. If you're interested in more AC/DC related videos, I'll stick a playlist of many other reviews I've done over the past, lifespan of my channel, which is almost 2 years. And if you haven't subscribed, press that button right there. That's all. See you all in the next one.